What is up? Jocelyn McClellan here with Fit Mission Makeup, and I am bringing to you a really good tutorial. It's about a beginner. If you're a beginner and you have heard of this brand but you have never used it or like fully seen it before, we're gonna build a compact. So it's gonna be pretty rock solid. So we're gonna build a compact and I'm gonna teach you 3 different ways of how you can apply your makeup, and we're gonna roll through it super fast. I'm actually starting a new thing. I'm gonna see if we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. So this is a Facebook Live. Of course, you're here and welcome. But I'm gonna start a new thing where we can take these lives and see if we can plug them into YouTube. So it's gonna be pretty snazzy. Let's do this. Let's have a little bit of fun here. So I have this palette from Seint. This is actually one of their newer palettes. So their palettes are always changing in colors. So sometimes you'll see somebody use a color that no longer exists because they're always changing their colors, and it's really fun. And they actually just came out with this one. So these ones are made of this really good quality cardboardish type material. Like truthfully, it's really good quality, even though when I call it cardboard, you're like, wait, what? And you can kind of tell, but it's like this thick cardboard stuff on the inside, and then it has this paper on the outside. I promise you, they're good quality. They just came out with this, but they're calling these eyeshadow palettes, but I'm seeing so many artists fill theirs up with all the makeup. It's 1 layer. It has a huge mirror in the top, and then it's on this little hinge, and then it's just, again, it's that 1 layer. So the price point is definitely different. This is magnetized, so it like locks it, but this is their newest. It just launched a little bit ago. So we have those. With Seint though, you can do any size palette you want, but you are just, it goes off of size of what you want. But everybody else always says, I wish I would have started with a bigger compact. If this was you, comment that in there too so that everybody can see it, right? I wish I would have started with a bigger compact because they end up loving the makeup and then they had to go and do a new compact. But guess what's really, really cool? You can, when you buy each tin that you buy, by the way, this is the new color of the month. Each tin that you buy, you can earn towards free credit of a palette or totally discounting the palette. So that's a bonus, right? It's so awesome. So that's what makes it easier too to buy that bigger palette off the get-go, because there's a chance you're only spending $5 or $10 or whatever on the palette, or nothing. It just depends on what you do. It's just personal preference. But the coolest thing about Seint is I will color match you. I will say, okay, like for example, see how my cheeks are darker in color? This is darker in color, my nose is darker in color, my chin's darker in color, and then I have these light areas. So what's so cool is when I color match you, I look at all of that, right? But I'll look at all of that and I'll be like, okay, let's use a little darker color on that area, or let's say you have a sunspot or something, and then we're gonna use a lighter color on other areas of your face. And I walk you through all of that. I draw on your face where the darker color is gonna go, where the lighter color is gonna go, and so you know, okay? It takes out the confusion. I have videos that's an overview, like here's how you highlight, here's how you contour, here's how you do your illuminator, aka what people call highlighter, the shine. Here is how you wear your blush. I have videos on all of that. I have tips for brushes, tips for skin, everything. Then I have a Facebook VIP page that has every troubleshooting topic that you can think of if you ever needed that too. So I take care of you, and it's all in organized videos, and they're like the intro overviews are like 2-minute videos, and the other ones are 2 to 8 minutes. It's like totally helpful for you. There's that explanation there. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna show you so briefly, because I have these 3 makeup applications that you're gonna wanna pay attention to, that even if you're somebody that is not a beginner for the Seint makeup using a cream foundation, you can take however method you like to wear your makeup and utilize it. So let's rock this out together. So I have a video on how to order Seint. Like it makes it simple, all of that jazz if you need it. But really and truly, you look at your color match that I give you, and you're gonna order the colors that I tell you to order. They're gonna come in this little guide. Now, somebody told me, they're like, that's just a trial size. It's small, but it's meant to be powerful. Less is more with this makeup, and because it's cream, it's even gonna look possibly darker than what you think it is. It should be, whatever. It's different. I promise I got you. And if I'm ever wrong, I make it right. I swear. You just have to have that talkie-talkie with me. Okay, so you'll get them like this, and you're just going to take off that lid, and you're going to put it in your compact. Now, I like to put my highlight colors together, then my contours or bronzers together. I always like to have a bronzer on an edge, because with a bronzer brush, it's bigger, so it kind of like gets it on the edge a little bit. So that's why I like to put my bronzer on an edge. Okay, so I like to start, I put these kind of in order, like, hey, what am I gonna do first? And that's the order I can do. You can turn them sideways, however you like it. So I have Sandy for me for my color corrector. I have Candlelit for my main. And then I have White Peach or Versailles, however I do that, for my brightener. I usually will match people to 3, just because this helps us to color correct anything that we need, or if you get tanner and you want to just kind of flow with it, or if you get lighter in the winter and you want to flow with it, okay? And then I go in with my contour. I'll match you to 2 contours, but I'll say like, this one's a little more warm, this one's not as warm, so I give you, and then you can choose which one you want. There's that. And then you can add in whatever blushes you want, anything like that. But this is the color of the month. The colors always change. If you're watching this live, you know that this is the month. If you're not watching this live, this has changed because it leaves after each month. Okay, so you can, it gives you room to grow though. Like this is giving you room to grow. So you don't have to have it full because it's magnetized. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so then your makeup is, your brushes look like this. They're gonna come in the cutest little protector. You're gonna take off this sheath that kind of protects everything in through it, and then you're going to apply. So I'm gonna use my used one, not this one, but I'll show you an example of what. So the first things first that I dip into is my Sandy. So on this side of my face, I'm gonna use an extremely light method. On this side of my face, I'm gonna use a heavier method. And then after I do the crazy light method, I'm gonna show you how you can add on to that one if you want a little bit more. So first we're gonna do insanely light and heavier, okay? So we're gonna roll this out. So first, this is my own palette. So I'm gonna show you, just like I had Sandy in here, that darker one, this is gonna be my light application side, and this is gonna be my darker application side. So first things first, remember, this is like minimal makeup on this side. Less is more with this makeup, I can't even tell you. So I'm gonna come in here with the smallest press, okay? Smallest press. And I'm just gonna go, okay, where do I need you? And it's gonna feel like you do not have very much on your brush, but the goal for this is just to color correct minimally places needed. And that's all I'm doing here. So at the end, you can't even tell that there is anything on my face. You know what? I forgot to prep my face, as in I have no sunscreen on or anything like that, because I'm just like, okay, we're showing this live. So you'll prep your skin. That's for another live. We're gonna do that because I'm washing this off after this because I'm gonna have weird application methods. So I will go and re-sunscreen and all that because that's for another day. Okay, so this one is just crazy. I'm just color correcting literally what needs it, moving on, doing nothing like that. This one, I'm gonna color correct a little more thorough, but what I can do with this one, because this color can rock my face a little more throughout it. So on this side, I just barely color correct what bothered me most. And this one, I'm willing to just like go to town. But notice how I'm stippling everything. Okay, and you can see that color corrector a little bit more too. And if your color corrector is just a little bit too warm, just take a dab of your color corrector and a dab of your main foundation and then do it, and it will soften it out just a little bit. And then this one I'm gonna color correct. Anytime you have acne or any sunspot, anything like that, you need to make sure you use a smaller brush to take care of it. Don't go in bigger than the area. Just like a sunspot or acne, stay true to the size of it. And I'm gonna do that on this side too. Okay, All right, now second thing is I'm actually gonna contour next. I can continue on with this brush, or I can grab a different brush to contour, like the detail brush. So I'm actually gonna stick with this brush on this light side, because the goal is, if you're a minimal girl, this is how you like it. So I'm gonna just press into here. The consistency of this is harder than all of this. Do you have to dig into it a little bit more? Yes, it's made that way on purpose. So this is our lighter application method. So we're just like getting it on there to create a little bit of a shape. Notice how I'm working in stipples. I would go across my forehead, that type of thing, but minimal, okay? On this side, I want a little heavier hand, so I'm gonna use the detail brush. Or you can use the powder brush, but see how it just gets that? And one would say that's not very much. That is a lot. You do not need much of this at all, okay? So this one, we're trying to get a little stronger application. So I'm right-handed, so I would come in like this with this, and this one you do need to pay attention to your angle. So if you ever have to hold your arm to get that right angle, do. I don't like it when we do hands like this very well. The only way I am okay if we do this on the hard side is if we pay attention to angles again. So this angle, if this is coming in here, when I have my hand like this on here, look at that angle, okay? And then when I have my hand like this, I am gonna be so careful to notice my angles, okay? So that one's gonna come there. I'm placing it, but you're gonna see me switch my hand, because blending it is actually harder. And then I'm gonna tap, but it's more of this up motion than pulling down. You never wanna pull down, because then that shadow is bringing down, and then that makes us look like we have more a saggy face, and saggy face is fun. And then of course on the forehead, you're just seriously gonna come up here and come across like this, okay? And just rock it that way. Okay, so we have lighter and a little heavier, okay? Then the next thing I'm gonna do, same on both sides. I actually like this order of operations so that you're layering as little as possible. But the next I'm gonna do is my blush. So again, on this side of my face with light application, I'm gonna come, I like to kind of mix, so you can definitely mix away, but I'm gonna come right here and barely do any blush. And then on this side, I'm gonna come in with a heavier hand with the blush and bronzer brush. So I'm gonna kind of get some color. That's a brand new fresh brush. Again, it's going to look like less. You have a brand new clean brush. It's gonna look like there's hardly anything on your brush, but I promise you there is. Okay, so you can just tell it's a little bit more. The next thing is I'm gonna come back to this basic brush. And for my light application, I am going to take my main foundation right here. I'm gonna do a couple dabs is all. I'm going to look and I'm gonna say, okay, where on my face do I feel that I really need this? I am no longer going to put foundation over my whole entire face. I'm going to address just what bothers me. So I for sure want it here. And I even got too much, so I'm just gonna take some onto my hand. Because the under eyes is where that drives us the most. And I'm actually gonna grab a dab of my main foundation and a dab of that. Notice how it's literally a dab. And I'm gonna come to this inner eye. And notice how I haven't even hit up in here yet. Okay, so I'm getting pretty much everything. Everything's a stipple. And I'm getting off all the excess. You can even wipe any excess off of your brush. And then I'm gonna come into my under eye. But I'm honestly, if it doesn't need product there, don't put it there. You're avoiding any creasing going on, right? So now look at that. I barely did anything. I barely did anything. And I now have this awesome coverage. Now this just bothers me because I have like redness kind of coming through. So I'm gonna do a dab of my candlelit and a dab of my brightener. And I'm just going to kind of clean that up ever so softly. Just a little bit. And along, that's too much makeup. Nope, too much. Okay, and then my chin, I needed to color correct that. But again, we're doing just this only. So you're going, okay, darkest point, where are you? Touch it. Darkest point, where are you? Touch it. Darkest point, touch it. Okay, and you can just stipple in those areas. Don't put the makeup where the makeup isn't needed. Oh, and I have redness under my nose. And notice how when I come in here, it's like, just that. Okay, and this side's lightly, and done. This side, I want a little bit better, stronger application, but you can use the detail end or you can use this end if you don't have one or the other. But this is gonna have a little heavier hand, but I wanna show you the difference when you have a heavier hand, because you don't load up the makeup. You load up the makeup with the cream foundation, you're gonna hate it. I promise you, okay? Don't ever load up the makeup with a cream foundation. You will not like it. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my face, same exact way, a little dabs. Look how little, look how little that is. When people come in here with a ton of makeup, not necessary. It will look like there's hardly anything on your brush, and I promise you there is. So I did a little teeny dab of that, little teeny dab of that, okay? And I'm going to, again, stipple. So that is a huge mistake that people make, is they sweep. So the stipple will be your best friend, and it also helps you get that shine. Okay, so this one, I'm coming in, but you're seeing that I am still doing stipples, but you saw that I kind of came in a little bit more. This is literally a minimal, only where needed side and method, because you're seriously just like, what bugs me? I'll just take care of that little area, not the whole face. And then this side, you're wanting to take care of the whole face, but you're still working in stipples with a smaller brush here and a smaller brush here. But remember how we've already taken care of all this? So we're still skipping, we're not going over that right now. We're just taking care of the makeup where we want the makeup. And then I'm gonna show you something. So this is my main foundation I'm putting on, because that matches up well there. So I got the whole face done on this side. This one is just literally areas, okay? So then I can take though, my blush and bronzer brush. You can get off any excess. There shouldn't be excess. You can literally go, I could go to contour, to this, all without washing my brush, because it's used so minimally. And even though that has a little bit of that color on it, it's not gonna do a dang thing. So I'm gonna get my main foundation, and I wanna make sure, so if you ever see a clump, that's naughty. No clumps on the brush, that means you got too much. So you already have this layered. You already have this taken care of. You seriously do not need more. So, but if you're like, okay, I wanna add one more layer, it's not tacky, we're doing good, but I want a little more application on here, then you can take that brush and just softly stipple to neutralize anything else you might have missed. And you're just doing a final blend in. Okay? Now, let's say you did this light method today because you wanted to go out to town, you didn't want to look like you had much makeup on, or you like this effect. This is actually my preference for me personally. But then let's say you're going on a date night and you want to spruce things up just a little bit more. All you have to do is do the same thing that I just did here, but because you don't have makeup all over your whole face here. This one, you already had makeup on the whole face. This one, you don't. So you're taking those areas that you're hitting, and now you're hitting them. So it's still gonna be a lighter application method than this side, because this side was the whole face and this one was already just only key places to start. So now we have a crazy minimal, a so-so, and a heavier hand. And I know you can't see this up close and personal, but if you could, you can tell that this still looks nice and clean, like fresh skin. But then this one looks like, you can tell that this looks lighter. Oh, I just brushed, I went like that, and I brushed over that spot. Dang it. And remember, with oily skin, I actually don't put moisturizer on before I start. I only put it on a dry patch. And on this side, since you did just cover up some of that blush, if you wanted a little bit more, never ever apply your blush to the apples of your cheek. Always come out here. And then if you want to come in after to the apples, but start out here. Okay? So then you have that. And then I'm just going to line my lips with my contour right here, not to the sides. And then I'm gonna go in, so our color Ibiza is already sold out. I kid you not, when Seint has something that you really love, if it's leaving, wait, oh, I put Ibiza in this. If you really love, you gotta get on it. Also, I have a tip to show you. Let's say all you want is this color. You want nothing else. I take the lid and I actually just leave it on it. And then I like to seriously go like this. And put it on. So if you want to ever do that and just keep it in this and not put it in a compact, you can do that too. Depending on your skin type, you can use a powder or not. That is totally up to you. I don't ever use a powder because I set it and everything ahead of time. But if you do, you know how you sprayed this with setting spray beforehand? That can actually be a helper of you. So where you spray it, take it with your powder. And then I actually, instead of having a lot of powder on there, I actually dab off any excess on my hand and then go in, because remember, less is more. The thicker we make our makeup be, the more it can like mess with a cream. So less is more. Also, having a finer, I have that one hair, having a finer powder is way better off for you, okay? So, all right, I'm Jocelyn McClellan with Fit Mission Makeup. You can always catch me live on Tuesdays on Facebook doing makeup, and then you can catch me on Thursdays doing hair. It's usually what I do unless we change things up, but you can follow me by subscribing to this channel. You can like all the videos and do all the things. I appreciate you being here. You are a rock star. If you have any questions with makeup, just comment it below. Take care and have a good one.